Raise your hand if you've ever had your argument dismissed by some version of, you only believe that because you're white, because you're a man, because you're young, because you're old. If you have, you've met Bulverism. Yes, Bulverism, which despite what it sounds like is not a Pokemon or some kind of bacterial infection. It's a term coined by C.S. Lewis, and it refers to dismissing an argument by speculating about the arguer's unsavory motive or bias, ignoring someone's point, instead trying to explain how they came to believe something so silly. It has all the logical merit of a palm reading session. The problem, of course, is that we all have stories about how we came to believe something. We all have biases, based on where we grew up, our family background, our religion, the movies we watched. Biases are like podcasts. Everyone has them, and some are better than others. The issue with Bulverism is that it reduces every position to those biases. It's a convenient way to avoid a challenge, and that's why it's attractive to people. But of course, just because you have biases doesn't mean your arguments are invalid. If someone says that Seinfeld is better than Friends, it wouldn't do any good to say that he just believes that because he's watched Seinfeld through 10 times. Maybe he watched it more because it's better, which coincidentally it is.
Yeah, I'd like to cancel my mail.
And if biases disqualified someone, it would disqualify everyone.
You're just out for sex! You're just out for money!
All right, enough Seinfeld clips. Bulverism assumes that explaining something is the same thing as refuting it. Now, Lewis identified two big Bulverism offenders in his day, Freudianism and Marxism. One dismisses an argument by psychologizing, and the other claims it's all about where you stand on the societal pyramid. This shows up in two big ways today, what we'll call the phobia accusation and the privilege accusation. First, phobias. If you argue against any progressive agenda, they will call you a something phobe. Homophobe, transphobe, xenophobe, Islamophobe. You may think you're opposing some form of cultural decay, but at bottom it's just some irrational fear. Concerned about mass immigration, you're just afraid of people who look different. Skeptical of affirmative action, you're just afraid of facing true equality. You didn't go see the newest Marvel movie, that's because you're afraid of
Black girl magic!
They'll accuse you of being hysterical or paranoid. It also assumes that anyone who does something out of fear is laughable and wrong. But some fears are rational, like the fear of poisonous snakes, or the fear of venomous spiders, or the fear of accidentally hitting reply all in an email thread. Then there's the privilege accusation. Here they tie arguments to the power and privilege held by those who make them. It sounds something like,
what kind of money do you think your parents have?
Excuse me?
Sorry, I had to. Or something like, you're just against affirmative action because you don't want to lose your privileged status. Stop picking on people below you, like the president of Harvard. Since they can't refute the point, they point out that the arguer is a cis white male, or Karen, and they only believe what they do to defend their ill-gotten supremacy. It's a strategy of avoidance, focusing on who is making the argument rather than the argument itself. Of course, there's nothing wrong with talking about why someone believes something. Sometimes that's relevant. But as Lewis says, you must show that a man is wrong before you start explaining why he is wrong. But of course he'd say that, he's a man. Lewis's main problem with Bulverism is that it's reductionistic. The key word is always just. It reduces multifaceted arguments to simplistic, often demeaning explanations. There's also a flip side to Bulverism, where people assume certain people are qualified because of their motives or identity. This is how you get airplane doors that do this from engineering teams that look like this.
Let's go, girls.
I wonder when their version of Hidden Figures comes out. But at least Alaska Airlines did a press conference.
And I said gay, you said gay, 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 gay.
Part of the reason Matt Walsh's "What is a woman?" question stumps progressives is because of their commitment to identity. Because as soon as they make identity subjective, their approach falls apart. That's why so-called arguments like this,
okay, no uterus, no opinion,
seem quaint. See, I used a Friends clip, but just so I could dunk on it. And some people on the right think they can be clever and turn the Bulverism around, like when people say that Democrats are the true racists or homophobes, or that Hunter Biden is the epitome of white privilege. But it's just as dumb when you do it. In fact, it's even dumber because you're appealing to their bogus categories. The point is not that we should drop all our biases and try to reason in a supposed neutral realm. That's not possible. The point is that biases don't disqualify you from making a good point. Of course, progressives don't care that they're using a logical fallacy. They'd probably say that logic is white supremacy or something. This video is not about how to destroy someone with facts and logic, and I'm not encouraging you to label every example of Bulverism you see on Twitter. That would be stupid, not to mention a full-time job. But it's helpful for us to know because if we can recognize Bulverism, we can either choose to engage or not. We can know if we're in a debate or just a Bulverism off. And if we know what Bulverism is, we can also avoid doing it ourselves. Otherwise, our arguments sound just like,
I said gay, you said gay, 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 gay.
Thought it was going to be a Seinfeld clip, didn't you?